and it could be your wife, it could be your friends, it could be your coworkers, your boss, your people in your church, wherever. They're waiting for you to jump in to help you and will help you. But because we don't open up and say something, we stay isolated and we struggle and we suffer. And so we need to learn how to start opening up, how to share, how to let people know that we got something going on. Because the fact of the matter is, we are not alone. Yeah, and I'll also say this, and I didn't even know, maybe this is a God thing, but so after my session this morning, Gordon, I let my client out, saw him out, and then I came in, I noticed, because I'm here at the office, at the Real Talk
Right.
building. And I noticed that Cherie changed the those pictures, those pictures of the had the suicide prevention. She
Okay.
changed the pictures on them, right? And so before would have the faces of the people who had committed suicide, but the new ones have pictures of their parents and family and loved ones holding pictures of the people who committed suicide. And
Ooh.
I'll be honest, that
Okay.
hit me. I
That
mean,
hit.
the other one
Yeah.
hit me, but this one hit me.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
And I just wonder how many of those people, and there were women on there too, but how many of those men on there just didn't open up and say something, just were
Right.
holding everything in,
Right.
because it wasn't just young guys, it was all types of guys. It was guys in their teens, and guys that before they were teens, people in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. Like you saw a range of guys in there that just didn't open up and say, "Hey, listen, I'm going through something. I need help." Right? I know it's the extreme version, but sometimes it can be as simple as, "I need help, loading this fridge, onto my car," or something along those lines.
That is
Like,
absolutely.
there's
Absolutely. There's when
so
when you
yeah,
when you look at the signs from the man up above, faith, whatever, whoever you believe in, if you're not looking at the signs, that's one of those things that brought us to our topic today, which
yeah,
is really cool because if you don't speak up for yourself, like Doc said in the podcast last week, if nobody knows you have a problem, you don't know you can fix it.
yeah.
And it hit me really deep because it's like
Hmm.
most people don't know they have a problem because they want to cover it up, especially like us for men.
Hmm.
Cover it up, you put something else, you deflect, you do everything else, you blame something else, start doing some other things. But one of those things is speaking up for yourself is where you draw boundaries not just for yourself, but for other people. Explain some of that can actually help in case you are in this situation. Because at the end of the day, we're helping brothers, sisters, everything to draw boundaries in the sign, to have some integrity so that they don't go down that path of that picture Doc was talking about earlier.
Gordon, the Bible says, it just kind of hit me as you were saying that, the Bible says that you have not because you ask not in the book of
Right.
James, I think chapter 3, you know. Um, and it goes on, right? So I don't want to pull it out of context, but I do want to talk about that first part. It's important because a lot of times the help you really want, it's there, but you're not asking for it.
Yep.
You're
Correct.
not going to therapy. You're not going to a men's group. You're not going to coaching. You're not going to your friend. You're not going to your pastor. You're not going to your spouse. You're not going to anybody, right?
Climbing
And,
up.
and we have to, I think it's important as well today, Gordon, to kind of address some of those reasons as to why we don't go to anybody, because it's not
Please.
all social conditioning in the sense of, well, you're not supposed to, you're a man. There's more to it than that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of times where we're creating scenarios where we make up stuff like nobody cares. Well, is that true
Right.
that nobody cares?
No.
Or did you make that up? Because maybe you reach out to the wrong person, or you had the wrong people in your life at the time when you were trying to open up, or like, but is it really true? So I think we need to address that as well, because we don't want to be the engine of our own destruction. But I mean, it's so important for us to open up and share because again, no one can meet our needs if they don't know them.
True. So very true. So very true on every aspect. Because if you don't know what's going on in your and you don't let nobody else know, how is anybody supposed to fix it? Doc, I call Doc. He's a doc because he's a real doctor, right? You go to a doc, you go to a physical. The doc's going to ask you what seems to be the problem.
Yep.
Is it your knee? Is it your shoulder? He's supposed to make the diagnosis for a lot of the things that's supposed to be happening. But if you don't understand that, you have to let somebody know, how am I supposed to help you? How am I supposed to communicate that what I can do for you? If you have a toothache, okay, put a little bit of Oragel. You put a lot of put this stuff. We get to the doctor. We see what's wrong with it, because it can go to bigger damage. It can go to an infection to your brain and do everything. Let people know before anything else bad happens. And this is why the topic is speaking up for yourself is so important. It doesn't just apply for business. It doesn't just apply to anything that you got going on at a specific time. This is why you have to have good communication, good boundaries, good integrity for yourself, because a lot of the times people will not know because nobody cares unless you let them know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the workshop that we did last week kind of touched on a lot of these things. If you guys want to watch that, just look it up on our video list, and it's in the playlist. Doc, how are some of the things besides that story you said? How does it pertain to the clients you're seeing, and how, the shift? What could people do about it?
Well, I mean, how it pertains to the people I see, I think the first thing is, you touched on the idea that, if you have to come and say, hey, I have something going on, right? I have a problem, I have an issue, because I've seen some clients that will come, and want me to find out what their issue is.
Mm,
I'm like, I mean, as a therapist, I'm not going to just say, well, you got to tell me. And if not, well, we're not going to do anything.
that's interesting too.
Obviously, I know how to ask questions and dig,
Correct.
because they are coming with an openness. But
Yes.
it is so much easier when you come in and say, you know what, this is what I'm struggling. I'm struggling with these thoughts. I'm having, this issue. I'm having these symptoms. I have
Correct.
this going on. It's a lot easier for people to help you, right? And so even if you go to like your spouse, right, you go to your wife and you say, hey, I don't feel loved. I feel like I'm alone. I don't feel like you care about me, or I don't feel cared for, or whatever. Like, you can be very direct, right? In being able to express it, because then she could do something about it, right?
Correct.
You know, so or if you're at work and you feel overwhelmed, right? Being able to go to your boss and say, you know what, hey, I feel overwhelmed. I remember one time I was working at the school district, and I had to teach a class, right? And as a school counselor, I mean, that wasn't my direct, what I'm supposed to be doing, teaching classes, but I was like, you know what? Hey, they need me to teach a class. And when my principal asked me, like, hey, how's it going? I was honest. I spoke up, right? I could have done the whole, yeah, no, it's good. I got it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
But I was like, I'll be honest, like, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. If you could find someone else to do it, that'd be great. But you know what? I'm gonna hold it down because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
good for. But because I let her know that, guess what? Now she knows, okay, all right, that ain't really his jam. He could be able to be better used
Yes.
other places. Let me see what I can do to get someone else in that place. Because if I said, no, it's good, yeah, I love the lessons that I did, whatever, whatever, she would have been like, okay, cool, great.
So
But on
let you
the
do it.
inside, I'm struggling, right?
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, dang, I hate this. I just can't stand it. Oh my gosh, da, 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 da. You know, like, so how often does that happen? Like we as men go and struggle because we're not open up and saying, what we have going on. So I would say that, but kind of to your question, Gordon, because I don't want to go too far off. I don't want to beat a dead horse either. But to your question was, what am I seeing? And what I'm seeing is sometimes us as men don't even know how to articulate what we have going on.
True. I mean,
So
so
we
very
show
true.
up for help, but if we don't even know, okay, I know there's something going on, or my wife says there's something going on, or I've been told something's going on, but I can't put my finger on it, right? So I think that's probably one of the number one issues is not even knowing how to articulate, what's going on to even tell someone that we need help.
Well, sometimes I think so. It's easier. I mean, honestly, it's easier if you think of it as you're doing it for somebody else. I had a situation where, where Andy would come into the bed when I'm with Trident, and he'd be like, "Oh, how come you over here?" So he told me a situation. Mom, don't do this for me. Okay. He comes in the bed. He tells me this. So I relay the message to mom, which is fine. At first, she took it the wrong way, but at the next day, it went all better because he came and told me, "Mom did this for me, this and that." Because, in the beginning, it was, "Oh, why are you telling me I'm a bad mom or anything like?" It's not that. It's I'm just relaying the message, and then sometimes you have to do that for yourself. You have to relay the message that you think you might not want to hear, but it does take a little bit of courage.
Hmm.
A lot of takes a lot of confidence to
Yeah.
kind of like say something, especially if you don't want to get judged. And that's why boundaries and brotherhood is a judgment free place. because
Hmm.
I'm the last to judge anybody for my situation and my back pass, right?
Hmm.
But people don't see it that way sometimes. Sometimes you just need somebody. You need to lay that things out for you. That foundation work, that openness, that trust. Now, if you're having problems in that situation, find a group like us, Boundaries Unbrothered. Find a professional like Doc. Dial that line. Find a survey because we don't want people, what do you call it, undoing themselves
Hmm.
for no reason when you can get help and there's so many help available,
Yeah.
especially what's going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
Doc, let me ask you a situation. What, based off understanding of speaking up for yourself, what are some of the things people can do to find that courage in themselves to speak up for themselves? What are some of the practices, some of the workshop things that we did last week?
So I mean, there could be a couple of things. Awareness and mindfulness is critical. Like kind of like we
Mm,
got on, and I was when we were talking about what I've been going through this last kind of week, kind of like going through like a daze. Like I'm here, but I'm not here. Like I'm functioning and functioning well, but like there's almost like a disconnection, right? So like I was telling you, I need to
oh,
get back to my roots. I need to
right.
get grounded. I need to start doing my journaling. I need to start making sure I'm consistent with my prayer walks and things like that. I got to get grounded again. I got to get
Ah,
back in that state of being
oh,
mindful. I think that's the first step, right? Before you open up, before you share anything, before you do anything like that, you got to actually take time with yourself. Okay, what am I really going through? What am I really experiencing? Because here's the thing: you mentioned communication. You mentioned your wife possibly taking things the wrong way when you brought it up to her, and sometimes that's what happens.
yeah,
Sometimes when we as men we share what we have going on, but when it comes out, it doesn't come out the way we intended. It doesn't come out with the real meaning. And because we're not able to articulate it the right way, people take it the wrong way. We get hurt, we get offended, and then we reinforce the belief. See, nobody cares. I should just keep it to myself. I'm making a big deal out of it, whatever, whatever, right? Whatever we use to reinforce that story. So what I would say is the first thing is we need to kind of buckle down and just take some time and write. Take some time and journal. Some of you guys are great at writing. Some of you guys are good at writing songs. Some of you guys are great at writing poems, whatever the case may be. Um, and some of you guys aren't good at writing at all. you know,
yeah,
so there's other ways around it, right? So I would say journal and just whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, write that out. But for those of you who are like, man, I can't stand writing. It makes me sick. Listen, get yourself some headphones, put them bad boys on, and just do an audio journal, right?
yeah.
Just
I was just about to.
right?
Yep, talk.
So like so you got to get that stuff out. You got to get articulated. You got to be able to see it, write it out, say it, something like that. Once you start organizing it like that, then you think about, okay, identify who you want to tell it to. Who's the person you trust? Who's the person you want to open up to? Who's the person you think that can help you, right? And then you want to be able to bring that message to them the right way using our statements so that it comes out the right way, so that they can actually help you, right? So that way, everything we just talked about right there, so you can articulate what you have going on and ask for help the right way, right? You know,
Absolutely, because communication and voicing that situation, like Doc said, using that I statements. If you don't know what I statements is relating it to yourself instead of deflecting off them. Like I'm going through this, my perception of all this. That's some of the things that you would have to go through. That if you need some help in that, reach out, guys, because learning some of that will help you communicate your situation very clearly and
yes,
actually take accountability for yourself and what you can do. Because at the end of the day, nobody will care unless you tell them.
yeah, yeah,
Nobody will understand you unless you cannot explain it well enough that they understand what's going on.
yeah,
My Doc was saying earlier he's going through a situation where a family situation. I asked him straight up, point blank. This is a perfect scenario because you have all the tools.
yeah,
He has to get back grounded, and sometimes life happens. We are all men. We are all flawed.
yeah,
We are doing things that's gonna do some. But sometimes, like Doc respects my opinion. You got to get back to what you know. You
yeah,
got to get back to what you know. You can. It's like riding a bicycle. It's like riding one of those things. You just got to go back to the prayer walks. Go back to your meditation. Go back to working out. Going back to doing what you do best
hmm,
to get into that state of mind, right?
yeah,
Because once you get that, then you can figure out the scenario of how the problem is going to be when, okay, I'm going through this. This is what's got to get done. Now I tell the doc what I need
hmm,
fixed. Because at the end of the day, guys, when I had to learn this the hard way, when you learn it from being in prison, you have to deal with all type of communication, culture, style, beliefs. But at the end of the day, you still have to protect yourself, but actually voice your opinion respectfully to other races. Because if not, you might get something stuck in your neck.
Yeah.
Or you think about it, you want to be with this crowd for 10 plus years. They got all the time to plan your demise.
Hmm.
So you learn that as a superpower, and it doesn't have to be that extreme. It can be for your sake also.
Yeah. Yeah. That's honestly, that's the power of, that's a great example. Definitely the power of learning how to use I statements, right? Because a lot of times what happens if you use it the other way, like you were saying, if you're not using I statements, you're using you. No,
Hmm.
you did this and you did that, and how could you do that? What you're doing is you're making an accusation against, you're
It,
criticizing the person, you're attacking them. It may not be your intention, but it doesn't matter.
it
That's
comes
what
out that way.
happens, right?
Yeah.
And so now whatever need you have is not going to be met for two reasons. One, because you just offended the other person. And then
Right.
two, because you didn't share what your need was. Me telling you how you're wrong and how you do this and how you do that doesn't say a thing about what
Doesn't
you
work.
actually need, what you're actually struggling with, right? Hey, I'm hurt. I'm alone. I need help. I'm struggling. Whatever it is. That's how you say, hey, what's going on with you? That's how people can actually meet your need. And then also,
Right.
Gordon, I just want to touch on what you were saying. You know, two of the I wouldn't call them mentors because I don't know them like that. But I follow them. So like Tony Robbins and Dr. Eric
Yep.
Thomas, right? One of the reasons why I love them so much is because they're real, right?
No,
They,
it's absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
they share that, hey, I've had shortcomings. There's times, and it happens, right? That doesn't mean like, oh, everything that I'm teaching is wrong or felt like no one would ever say that what everything that Tony Robbins and Dr. Thomas teach their people and their clients or whatnot is wrong. No one would ever say that simply because they had a snafu or maybe they were off a day or something like that. The key point, it's not about perfection. It's about, okay, recognizing and using the skills that we teach to re-regulate, right? That's what that's about. And so, yeah, everyone's gonna have like an off day or off time or whatever. But it's about, okay, I recognize that. I do what I got to do to get back on the wagon, and I keep pushing forward. So that's a big thing as well, because I think a lot of guys, and we can talk about this in another session, another video. But a lot of guys get stuck on this performance, like I have to perform and be
Oh,
perfect.
that's big.
You know,
Performance.
yeah. And if I'm not perfect, I'm not worth anything. I don't have any true value if I'm not perfect and never make a mistake. But I'm not living like that. I make mistakes and it's okay. I learn from them
Okay.
and keep pushing forward. But yeah, but long story short, I don't want to make this about me. I'm just saying, like, guys, everyone makes mistakes, or sometimes we fall off, but it's okay because we can get back on because we have these skills and strategies to get back on, right? And I don't have a lot of downtime. But to the I statements, yes,
Yeah.
really, really important to learn how to use that so you can actually get the help you need. And I also say this, a lot of times it's most important for interpersonal relationships, you know.
Hmm.
But if you're asking for help, like if I'm like, hey Gordon, man, hey, do you got some time to help me move a couch? I don't necessarily need I statements for that, right? I don't want to go
That's
to
different.
Gordon and like, okay, Gordon, I'm I'm feeling overwhelmed because I have a couch that needs to be moved, and it's really heavy. You don't gotta do all that. So this is more so for interpersonal relationships, share
Correct.
your
Correct.
concerns. But if it's other things like requests, like, hey Gordon, can I borrow this? Hey, I know you got that. Hey Gordon, you mind coming through so we can do this? That conversation can kind of stay the same. So we're talking about conveying like your thoughts and feelings and emotions for
Deep,
interpersonal relationships.
deep issues. Deep
Exactly.
issues, the one that you can confide into a lot of people, even like for when Doc said, you mean, a lot of times most men will clam up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then one thing good about Eric Tom, Doctor, the hip hop preacher, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The hip hop preacher, he'll keep it real as a motherfucker because at the end of the day, he's been through that stuff because he slept in his car. So
Mm.
did Tony Robbins.
Yep.
But the one thing these men have, because I've seen them in real life, right? They have presence.
Yep.
Presence comes from confidence. Confidence comes from communicating well enough because of their situations that they came through from before,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's one of, see, some of the stuff Doc teaches me. Look at it. But at the same time, you mean Doc also, he makes mistakes. They were all human. He
Mm-hmm.
might be in a situation. He's gonna reach out, hey Gordon, bop, bop, beep, bop. I'm like, of course, I'm gonna regurgitate what he told me, then it's gonna click in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
It happens a lot,
Yes, it
actually.
does.
Right? It happens a lot. And that is one of the reasons, like, if you don't know how to stick up for yourself, the demise, the opposite end of that door will always be closed, right? You can listen to all the YouTube videos. You can listen to all the inspirational things that I put out. You can listen to all the stuff, but you have to apply the things that you've been learning.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, that door will always stay closed. And sometimes all you need, like, see, I'm the opposite. I'll kick that thing down. versus and then I don't care who's in the way. Versus I have other people that just want to be, okay, and I get it, but it's like, if you don't realize that something is great on the opposite side of that door that you're holding back, you're actually holding the door closed for yourself.
Yeah.
Release it, let it go, become your true authentic self, become the 11th man
Yeah.
that does everything out of the ordinary, just to learn, because there's never going to be a wrong answer. There's going to be learning lessons at the end of it all.
You know what, Gordon? I want to jump in and say this as well, right? Because you talk about that door, but guys, you got to ask yourself the question: what do I really have to lose
Exactly.
by seeking out help? Right? Like, at this point in time, there's really no excuse in this world as to why we have to sit here and struggle by ourselves. You
Yep.
know, we truly do keep the door closed ourselves, and there's
Yes.
no one holding it. There's no devil, there's no demon, it's not your wife, it's not your kids, it's not it. There's no word, there's no system. If the door is closed, it's because you're keeping it closed.
Correct.
That's what it is. Because
Yep.
at the very if you feel in your life, I have absolutely nobody in my life to go to, which isn't true, right? But everyone has at least one person. If you comb through everybody, unless you're a hermit living in the mountains, disconnected from society that can't even see this, you got somebody, a brother, a friend, a coworker, somebody. But let's just hypothetically say, Gordon, you know what, Keith, I don't have anybody. You could find at least a therapist. You could find it because
Yes.
by law, we have to listen to you. We can't share anything with anything else if you're scared about, stuff getting out. Confidentiality prevents us from sharing anything, right? I had a client, they were going through something, but I called them and they were like, and I was told them, like, I was in a session, like, oh yeah, tell me what, there was going on. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. So there's no excuse to keep that door closed. There's no excuse to keep that door closed. If you want to open up and share, if you want to get these things out, you need to go and find someone who you can get these things out with. And at the very worst,
Yes.
if it's like, I don't got nobody, go find a therapist, go find a coach. It's worth it. If you talk about, well, I don't got the money, well, again, and I'm not trying to be in anyone's pockets, right? But is it that you don't have the money? Like, are you truly living on a shoestring budget? Like, once all the food and bills and everything's paid for and gas, like you have $0 in the bank, Or did you just get those new Jordans? Or you just go to that concert? Or did you just finance a trip across the world? Or you just drop $200 on a date? Or did you just buy some new clothes? Like, let's just keep it a stack, right? Is it true that you don't have the resources, or is it really just not that important to you,
It's
right?
not that important.
Because so just it's really important, right, that this door in front of us, if we're the ones keeping it closed, which we are, there are ways for us to open it up, because ultimately, what do we have to lose on the other side? You ask
Right.
yourself that question. That's really important.
I
Like,
mean,
what do
you
I have
look
to
at
lose
it.
on the other side?
You
Yeah.
look at it this way, right? What's on the opposite side of that door
Yeah.
is usually answers, growth, lessons, better communication, faith in yourself,
Yeah.
right? A lot of the times it's behind, but like Doc said, through the course of your life, yeah, a lot of times you might be putting locks on it
Yeah.
because you're afraid of it.
Yeah.
Once you get unafraid, when you have the balls to not simp, to kick that thing down, to unlock the door, because you hold the keys.
Yeah.
Guys, you hold the keys for everything that comes your way because now everything is a choice, like Doc said. Right? When
And let
you
me,
have that, yeah, go
oh,
ahead,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry, Gordon. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a choice of yours. You want to go buy the Jordans. You want to go try and impress this woman for nothing that knows you trying to get the clap them cheeks, like as they say,
Mhm.
for nothing. But at the same time, you're not okay with yourself. That's not. She's not attracted to that.
Mhm.
Never will be.
Mhm. Yeah.
Get it straight in your head. Speaking up for yourself doesn't just mean verbally speaking up for yourself. You can use body language. You can use intermediary things that doesn't have. Sure, communication is a way. There's like Doc said, there's so many ways in this world right now, and it's just amazing. And what was you gonna say, Doc?
I was gonna say, for because there's a lot of guys that might use the excuse like using specifically for their relationship, right?
Oh,
Well, I don't want there to be a fight. I don't want to argue, right? So that's why I don't say anything. But the point of the fact of the matter is, you're arguing anyways.
yeah, I was just about to say it's
You're
already
already
done.
arguing, right? Why? Because you already feel some kind of way that your wife is not meeting your needs. So there's already going to be an argument because there's going to be that built up resentment that she's still
Resentment.
asking you. She's opening up and sharing what she
Ooh.
needs, but you're not because maybe one time you did and it turned into something. But I got to a point in my own relationship where I was like, well, what does it matter, right? Okay, we get in an argument, so what?
You
You know, and
arguing
and I'm
regardless.
not saying, and let me also say this, I'm not saying we have to get into argument, but I'm just telling you the point
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got to. I'm like, what do I truly have to lose? My relationship sucks right now. It's garbage. And
Mhm.
doing what I'm doing right now is not going to make it any better. Being quiet and holding everything in is not going to make it any better. Just because we're not arguing doesn't mean it's good. I'm miserable, right? So I got
Miserable is
at
the
that
word,
point, yeah. So I got to the point where I was like, well, F it. I'm
right?
gonna open up, I'm gonna share. If it goes bad, whatever. But at least it's getting out there. But I'll tell you this right now, guys, my relationship started improving because I started opening up. Because
Yes.
now, if I'm not doing something for my wife or some whatever the reason is, right at that time, she now knows why. Oh shoot, well
Right.
yeah, he's not hugging and kissing on me because yeah, he said he doesn't feel cared for. Now I don't understand what he means by that, and we blew up and had an argument. But now she knows. Like it's
She,
not like
she can
why is
make
he acting weird?
a,
Why
a
is he being
choice.
standoffish? I
Yeah.
don't get it. I thought everything was good. We just had a date night the other night. We just made love. Like, why are things not good? Because all this stuff's going on. So once I started doing that and opened up and sharing that, guess what? Things started to improve because now at least my wife knew, okay, this is what he's dealing with. Now, yeah, she may not necessarily address it right away, but at least she now knows. But ultimately, I had nothing to lose. Again,
Indeed. Oh,
stop and think about it, right? Specifically for your relationship, I got nothing to lose, right? Like, oh man, we're getting a fight. Okay, you already getting fights, right? You already
appreciate
get
that.
those,
Really,
you
like
know?
you gotta have that type of mentality because at the end, you gotta have that strong willpower, be knowing nothing's gonna happen except better situations because you'll learn from it. Like
Yeah.
anything else, it's like having mistakes, right? You can be in your 20s, your teens, you made mistakes. We see a lot of mistakes at our Real Talk program that me and Doc do. But at the same time, what I tell the kids, you can make your mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes. Your parents make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. It's
Mhm.
the ones that you learn from other people's mistakes or learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
I was a bonehead that didn't learn from mistakes because I thought I could beat the system. Where
Yeah.
did it get me, right?
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
the same, as the same application for your relation for
Mhm.
yourself, no
Yeah.
matter what you're going through, if you don't know how to speak up for yourself, since we're really hammering this, which is really great, right? It's that door. I keep it. You gotta look at it. This is the way I tell a lot of people, right? If you was to close your eyes, guys, and you was in a room with a million bouncy balls flying at 100 miles an hour, you're gonna have some big bouncy balls, some tennis balls, some moving slow. You got to be able to grab the balls because each ball that you have is an opportunity, right? Is an opportunity to express yourself, to have a business, to do something in the world, to make a collaboration, to have a partnership, to get funding, to have a better relationship with your family.
Mm,
And then when it's not enough, when you're done with that, let the ball go. It'll
mhm.
keep moving like life, right? There's one thing good about when you go to prison for such a long time. Life, I stay stagnant, like a cryogenic. People in prison go through like a mental cryogenic stage, basically, right? You stay the same.
Mm.
You come out, the world moved on fast. Nobody cared about boom, right? Now you got to catch up. Now, whether you catch up emotionally, some people can handle it. Whether you have a learn from the mistake and you open that door and you kick that door wide open and you take life for what it's got to give you and what God has provided for you and you breathe that fresh air, then you realize exposing yourself communication wise is really nothing.
Yeah.
Like Doc said, you have nothing to lose,
Mhm.
right?
And here's the best part, Gordon. Like, so this, I made that decision and moved that way, um, because I didn't have the skills necessary, right?
Hmm.
So you can do that, right? You can make that decision and not necessarily have to have it be a fight, not to have it
Yes.
be an
Yeah.
argument, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to actually be
Hmm.
like that. So you can learn from our mistakes, right? What we're trying to fast track you in your career, in your life, in your relationships. We're trying to fast track you so you don't have to bump your head along the way. So you don't have to go to prison like Gordon or struggle with
Yep.
me and my
Yep.
relationships for
Yep.
decades. You can start it off right from the beginning and have 20 years of love and
Yep.
progress and success
Beautiful.
and creativity and
Yep.
openness and good mental well-being. Like you could have all that right now by working with us and learning these skills necessary to navigate your life and get back on track. Like we said earlier, yeah, if I'm off, I recognize like something doesn't feel right, right? And I now can put these skills into practice. Okay, I need to journal, or I need to get back to working out, or I need to get back to, going, do my prayer walks, but well, whatever it is, I need to get back to that. I need to get back to do my, like, I have the skills necessary to get back on track, right?
Hmm.
So that's ultimately what we're talking about here, guys. It's not about like, yeah, go and just open up and blow up on your wife or blow up on your boss or things like. We're not talking about that. We're talking
There's
about
a
come
way.
join with us,
Yeah.
learn the skills necessary so that when you do start opening up, it's well received from the get go. You don't
Yes.
have to keep beating up on people and using the wrong statements and being combative and criticizing and trying to learn and grow. Like you don't have to do that if you're able to get these. If you work with us and get these skills.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, the workshop that we did last week, even just audio, and you know, I can only imagine when we do a live workshop helping other men and people do the same thing. Because the workshops will, if you're going through something like Doc said, if you keep bumping your head, not getting you're getting the same results, leave a comment. If you're going through something you don't know who to talk to, leave a comment. If you're going through something that you're scared and afraid of people criticizing you, Doc said, judging you, figuring out, leave a comment,
Mm.
right? We have assessments, we have workbooks, we have simple guides that can help you in a situation. And at the end of the day, you have access to us, right? You have access to us in a way that nobody else, a lot of times, a while back, you might understand like, oh, I am these Gordon Doc. They're just there's another people doing the podcast to get some fans, make some money. I said, no, it's not about that. It's about helping people get to a place where they want to be physically, psychologically, emotionally, and all that good stuff with the pillars that can create a life for you so you can put your head up high. Be proud. Because at the end of the day, you want that life. You dream it. I'm not selling you anything else but your life that you want to create for yourself.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything else because I made a promise to myself. And here's one I'm gonna share this with the group. Anybody watching this on the replay.
Mhm.
I do this to help my grandkids that will never see me. I just turned 57 yes, 2 days ago, right? I will not see grandsons like normal people because I screwed up in my beginning life. Okay.
Mhm.
One day they're going to say, what type of person was dad? Grandpa. I get to show, my sons get to show this. Dad helps people.
Yeah.
Right. And that's for me, that's deep. That's why I'll keep doing it regardless.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Yeah.
they can say,
Yeah.
my dad used to be like this that helps people, helps men. And sure enough, With Doc, he can be the guide for them, right? Because I teach them how to open doors for women. I teach them when they go to the prayer, what do you say? Good morning. What do you say when you leave? Thank you. This is that LVAC playground.
Hmm.
And they go, you're the only person that does this for us. Because I said, I want them to have in a new world, they gotta have these attributes because
Yeah.
it's being lost.
Yeah.
Same with Doc does, right?
Yeah. That's legacy. That we need to do a video on that too.
Yeah.
Um, the idea of legacy, because that's big. That's big for us as men. You know.
Very big.
Yeah.
Very, very big.
Something
It's
that
not
lasts
taught
beyond.
enough.
Yeah. No. Something
Yeah.
that lasts beyond us. Something that continues on. Um, which ties into our purpose. We'll get into that later, guys,
Mhm.
because that's too deep for what we're doing right now, and it kind of takes us off topic. But it is really important, right? Like what type of being the type of man that someone can look up to, and say I
Yes.
want to be like that, So but yeah, but the thing is, Gordon, and tying it all together, you can't be that if you don't speak up for yourself.
Absolutely.
Can't do that,
Absolutely.
right? The whole idea of, well, I got to do life alone. We were never ever designed to do life alone. And I've said this probably
No.
in other
Yep.
videos before. I'll continue to say it again. We were never designed, us as humans, period, but especially men, we're not designed to do it alone. And for those of the Christian faith, the Bible says, well, God said it is not man, it is not good. It is not good for man to be alone. And this is not about marriage, right? Because the first things God brought to Adam were animals, right? So he
That
wasn't,
didn't work.
yeah, he wasn't saying like I need
Yeah,
Adam to
no.
marry an animal and have babies with an animal. No,
I could tell a good joke about that one
you
though.
know,
We won't go there.
it was just like the ultimate form of someone being there for us is a wife.
Yes.
But the idea is we cannot be alone. So there's
Yep.
no glory in being alone. I know the world says that. There's no glory in toughing it out. There's no glory in holding it all in. There's no glory in I don't want to open up and share it to anybody. There's absolutely no glory in that. And any man in history that's done anything did it with other people at his side.
They have
Every
to.
single one. You'll never find anybody, nobody. And I dare to challenge me on that. You'll never find not one influential man in history across all cultures that did it alone. Everybody had somebody to help them. So, and the reason why I'm drilling this home so hard is because we need to break out of that idea. That's
Correct.
a lie that someone taught us somewhere along the lines that we can't open up
Yeah.
and we need to just do everything by ourselves. And that's what it really means to be a man. When it's just false, it's fake, it's phony, it's not real. And anybody who's still holding on to that mentality, I'm begging you guys, imploring you, you need to let it go. We need one another, right? We need help. We need someone to reach out to, you know? So just keeping that in mind, like it's not good for me to be alone. It's not good for me to struggle alone. Let me go get help by any means necessary, right? If I got to come out of pocket, if that's the most thing, I got to do that, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
when and for me, even telling myself, I was I was going through some things and I've been going alone for so long. I said, you know what? I need to go to therapy. You
Oh,
know, I need to go to therapy. I need to just to have someone to kind of just to talk to and open up and share my thoughts and feelings, right? Without fear of judgment, right? Because I was like one of those guys in my mind. I was once one of y'all where I was like, I don't have anybody. I can't open up and share with anybody. So, but I said I need to talk to somebody. So I said, well, I know a therapist, confidentiality. Let me go there. Empathy. I know
right.
it's all baked in right there, anyways. So, and I'm telling you, it was a massive relief for me
Relief
to be able to get these things out of my head and be able to empathize with someone and be or not for someone to empathize with me,
with you.
someone actually cared. Like it really, really helped take the load off, the pressure off. Right. And then of course, after that, I did open up to other people, and talk to other people and things of that nature and share. But what I'm saying is it's not good for us to be alone. We're not meant to be alone. We're not designed to be alone. And for anyone who's like, well, I don't believe in that Christian stuff, that's fine. The stats say that it's not good for us to be alone. COVID showed us it's not good for us to be alone,
Yeah,
right?
very true.
No civilization has ever been built by one man by himself, right? He just goes out into the wilderness and just starts cutting down trees and building, houses and building. No, what? He needs a group of people. He needs people around him, surrounding him, supporting him. And that's what you get. That the whole purpose, what is it? Brotherhood, right? Boundaries and
Brotherhood. Yep.
brotherhood. People that come around you, lift you up, be there, support you. It's critical. It is critical for you to grasp this concept. If you get nothing else, know that it's not good for me to be alone. I need to be connected with somebody. And if you need, and we're here for it, right? We're here.
Absolutely.
That's what this community is about: connecting, getting together, sharing our experiences. It's not an echo chamber. I'm going to be very, very, very clear with this, Gordon. I'm going to say this and I'm going to pass it off to you. We are not an echo chamber, right? Other channels, they have these extreme views and it's all this amen corner. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not the rah-rah.
Not what this is. This is a place where you can come and be open and vulnerable and
Mm-hmm.
share, and we build each other up,
Build. Yes,
right?
sir.
If we say something, you're like, hey, we have a different thought or different opinion about that or whatever, put it in there, right?
That's
We're not
okay.
gods,
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, that's fine, because again, it's not about, me being great or Gordon, you being great. It's about, hey, how we can help people. So if you come up with something and say, hey, y'all said this, but I don't know if that's accurate, because of ABC 1, 2, 3, we're going to engage with you in the comments, right? And if it's
Absolutely.
something like, hey, yeah, we need to go back and redact, we'll go back and we'll
Yeah,
go in another
that's
video and be like, hey,
fine.
listen, we said this here, we got this comment here, we'll put you up there, and then we'll say, hey, listen, when we were talking to him, it made sense. So guys, this is the ABC. So I say all that to say, guys, you're not alone. You don't have to be alone, and there's no glory in doing anything alone, right? So find the help, find someone you can open up to, share with, and then using the I statements to share whatever it is you got going on. Again, if it's interpersonal, right? But don't try to do it alone. We're not designed for it.
Nice. I mean, and I think so. We're going to end with that one because that was deep, right? Because I can go on also and top and add to that one. But we're going to end with that, guys. Because let's face it, guys. If you're feeling alone, go to let's go.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. Take the assessment, right? If you're feeling like you can't speak to somebody, right? And you want to get to somewhere where you can be proud of yours, go to let's go.boundariesandbrotherhood.com or rewatch the podcast we did last week together. Doing one of many. This is not a fly by night thing, guys. Like that. We're not an echo chamber. We're here to help, right? Between our experiences and who we have coming on, it's going to be something that you can take and run with and use it and apply it, right? We have workshops, we have worksheets, we have an audio podcast. We have a lot to offer, a lot to give, a lot for you to not value, but a lot to help your situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because I just had to talk about that one but no, let's end with that, guys. Leave us a comment, guys. This is Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. See you
And
next week. Doc.
all right. Yep. Dr. Keith Fairclough, you guys take care. Have a great and blessed day, and we'll be back and talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Aloha. Ooh, beep. That was good. That was really good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
once you got going, once you,